An historic night for the Lightning as Andrei Vasilevskiy earns his 300th career victory in a 3-1 win over the best team in the NHL. Just how big is this win for the Tampa Bay Lightning at the early juncture in the season? We'll talk about that and more on today's episode of Locked On Lightning.
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thank you all for making Locked On Lightning your first listen every day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And if your team is the Tampa Bay Lightning, this is the show for you. I am your host, Josh Sperber, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel because you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Make sure to visit FanDuel.com to get started. And let's get started by breaking down this Tampa Bay Lightning win. 3-1, a goal in the first period pretty early on. Lightning got the first 5 shots in the game as well. But first and foremost, we'll hear from Andrei Vasilevskiy as he was very, very full of praise for his teammates after the milestone victory, where in his 490th NHL game, Andrei Vasilevskiy became the fastest player ever to 300 career victories, one of the very few to do it with just one franchise, and he did it in 31 fewer games than legendary Canadiens goalie Jacques Plante. We'll hear from Andrei Vasilevskiy about his 300th career victory.
Obviously feel really fortunate to win 400 games for same hockey club. First of all, it doesn't happen that often nowadays. Obviously, it's hard to win in this league, but I for the last 10 years I played for such a great team. Just guys, work. They give it all out there on the ice. And they help me out a lot during the game every night. So big love to them.
And Vasilevskiy always been a team guy and a hard worker. Ryan McDonough said that Vazzy was at the rink 5 of 6 days over this recent off week for the Tampa Bay Lightning, improving his game and just practicing, and it certainly paid off. Vasilevskiy saved all but one of the Winnipeg Jets' 24 shots, including every single shot taken by the Jets on the power play, and it was just a great game from Vasilevskiy and just so huge to do this against the Winnipeg Jets. To snap a win streak, get the 300 win monkey off of Vasilevskiy's back. I mean, you could tell that it was something that he was thinking about during the losing streak. And I think it could be something that just opens up the Tampa Bay Lightning on big milestones like this, especially when these milestones are set in record pace. That can have an effect on the teams. Every Brandon Hagel, Ryan McDonough, John Cooper, all of them spoke with the media after the game, and all of them said something of how impressive that it was for Vasilevskiy to do this so quickly. So it might not have just been Vasilevskiy thinking about this 300-win milestone. I think that could have been something that was just nagging the back of the Lightning players' minds during this losing streak, and clearly they just needed the reset to clean it up. And to finally get that win and finally get Vasilevskiy his milestone victory. And there's just been so few players who have done that with all one team. And you gotta give it up for Vasilevskiy. He's truly one of the best. John Cooper was really praising him and just talking about just the remarkable career that Vasilevskiy's had, nearing 10 years in the NHL already with a Vezina, a couple of Stanley Cups, and now the fastest player to 300 wins for Andrei Vasilevskiy. I mean, it's just massive. 490 games, he's won 300 of them. 35 of them have been shutouts, doing it with a save percentage well above 900 at a goals allowed average at about 2.5. And Vasilevskiy, in his 10th season in the NHL, has continued to prove that he is one of the best goalies of our generation. John Cooper called him a generational player. Ryan McDonough, Brandon Hagel praised his work ethic and his ability just to hold it down in between the pipes. I mean, it's truly remarkable to have watched live a historic moment like that for a likely Hall of Fame goalie in Andre Vasilevskiy. And even Vasilevskiy said he wasn't done, that he wanted 300 more. So we're certainly hoping for 300 more for the Lightning and Vasilevskiy to be in goal for a lot of those victories. But Vasilevskiy was very complimentary of the rest of his teammates. So let's get into some of the other standout players in today's game. Nikita Kucherov continued his point streak, another assist for him. Jake Gensel, his first 2-goal game with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And he got his first goal on one of the nicest assists you'll ever see. Nick Paul, a little between the legs drop pass to set Gensel up for the just prettiest goal of the game and one of the nicest ones that you'll ever see. And that was one thing that I really noticed over the course of this game. The passing for the Tampa Bay Lightning looked better than it had in any other game this season. The link-up play was great. The Lightning moved the puck around really well, found the open man, capitalized on the mistakes that the Jets made and got the win. I mean, not much more you could ask for offensively for the Lightning. Of course, John Cooper was, didn't love the fact they gave up that goal late, but there's really not too much negative that you can say about the way the Lightning played that game, especially considering who they were playing. They held the team with the best power play in the NHL. I believe the only team to convert on 40+% of their power plays leading into the game. Jets were 0 for 5 in the power play. Now, you want to minimize those penalties, but if you're gonna, if you're gonna cock the gun and play Russian roulette against the best power play team in the league and hope it doesn't hurt you, you got to at least look favorably on the fact that the Lightning forced the Jets 0 for 5 on the power play, and there weren't a lot of close plays on that power play. I mean, weren't a lot of shots from the Jets. It was just a game that was controlled by the Lightning from the get-go. They got the first 5 shots in the game, and I think they might have benefited a little bit that Comrie was in goal instead of Hellebuck, who to this point this season might be the best goalie in the entire NHL. So, but I don't think that Hellebuck would have made much of a difference. I think with the way the Lightning passed the puck, it just they made it look so easy, and they put the puck on the net. And a couple more milestones came in the game other than the Vasilevskiy win. Anthony Cirelli, his 100th goal, the 14th player in Lightning history with 100 or more career goals. And Cirelli and Brandon Hagel were both praised by John Cooper for their ability on the power play and the penalty kill as well. So big congratulations to Anthony Cirelli. Got a tip in on a historic assist that was the 583rd in the illustrious career of the captain, Victor Hedman. He is now second in franchise history, one ahead of the captain he replaced, Steven Stamkos, and he'll need 6 more assists to pass Hall of Famer Martin St. Louis for sole possession of the most assists in Lightning franchise history. Hedman with points in 4 straight games, 11 assists, 14 points on the season. And the captain has continued to exemplify top quality leadership and great play on the ice. And, there are never enough flowers you can give Victor Hedman, but he had a really good game tonight. I thought for a second that the goal came off of his stick and it was Hedman's goal, but Cirelli ended up tapping that in. I think he'll still get those 6 more assists by the end of November, though. So after Thanksgiving, we might see a new franchise assist leader for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And the Lightning unfortunately missed Braden Point for the second straight game. He did not play against the Winnipeg Jets. He was suited up in practice throughout the week, but he was in his street clothes during the game. And that has prompted some line movement across the Tampa Bay Lightning depth chart. And how permanent can that movement be, particularly on the first line between Jake Guentzel and Brandon Hagel? We'll break down those two Lightning left wings when we return here on Locked On Lightning. I love a great deal as much as the next guy, but I am not going to crawl through a bed of hot coals just to save a few bucks. It has to be easy. No hoops, nothing else. But so when Mint Mobile said it was easy to get wireless for $15 a month with a purchase of a 3-month plan, I called them on it. Turns out it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month. The longest part of the process was the time I spent on hold trying to break up with my old provider. To get started, you can go to mintmobile.com/lockedonnhl, and there you'll see that right now, all 3-month plans are, in fact, only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Find out how easy it is to switch to Mint Mobile and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/lockedonnhl. That's mintmobile.com/lockedonnhl. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/lockedonnhl. $45 upfront payment required, which is equivalent to $15 a month over 3 months. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower than above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. Make sure to see Mint Mobile for details. Nothing delivers comfort and joy quite like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha Steaks. This year, skip the holiday hustle and bustle and save 50% off of gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, get a $30 reward card when you shop early on omahasteaks.com, and then score an extra $30 off with a promo code below NHL. With 5 generations of experience, Omaha Steaks consistently delivers the world's best steak experience, and the gifting experts at Omaha Steaks have made it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and a whole lot more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with a promo code NHL and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off OMAHAsteaks.com, OMAHAsteaks.com, and an extra $30 off with promo code NHL. Minimum purchase may apply. Josh Sperber back with you on the second segment of Locked On Lightning, comparing two left wingers on this Lightning team, Brandon Hagel and Jake Guentzel. And the only reason I'm really comparing them is because the last 2 games at home, Jake Guentzel was dropped down a couple lines while Brandon Hagel and Anthony Cirelli moved up to the first line, as Braden Point is currently out with an injury. And that begs the question, is this something that the Lightning can do more this season? Is Brandon Hagel now going to be coming up to the first line on left wing? This seems like a weird question. And to some of you, this honestly might be a pretty easy one. Jake Guentzel was signed to a big contract this offseason, 7 years, close above $50 million. Mega deal for Jake Guentzel, a guy with plenty of NHL experience with some great players on some great teams. And he was inadvertently signed to be the heir apparent to Steven Stamkos. And the Lightning are usually a team that their key players are homegrown guys. And Hagel was sent to the second line while Guentzel was put on the first line for most of the season, save for really the past couple of games. Gensel still played over 20 minutes and scored 2 goals. It's clear that he can produce anywhere. So would Hagel be better on that first line? I think the easy answer to this question is no, because if we're talking about when Braden Point comes back, he's got to be your first line center. Cirelli and Hagel have such good team chemistry together that I honestly think that the reason Hagel was on that first line is because the next up in centers for the Lightning on the depth chart is Anthony Cirelli. With your first line center out injured, Cirelli's going up to that first line as he is usually the second line center. So Cooper decided to bring Brandon Hagel to that first line with Cirelli just to keep that chemistry going. And in today's game, it worked. It was the same situation against the Philadelphia Flyers that Gensel was on the second line. Hagel, Cirelli, Kucherov was line number 1. I think it's something that they honestly could experiment with. You never like breaking up a strong chemistry pairing like Hagel and Cirelli, and I really think that's the main reason that it's going to still be Gensel, Point, Kucherov on the first line when Braden does come back from injury, and Cirelli and Hagel are going to stick as that second line pairing. That is the only thing that has remained constant about the second line this season. It's been the second line that has lost the extra skater, like tonight when Darren Radish came on as the 7th defender. It's happened a couple of other times this season, but the most consistent line pairing is on that second line with Cirelli and Hagel. They're on the same line just about every game, and I think that's the right idea. They work really well together. They have great chemistry. They they know how each other plays very well, and I think it's worth keeping them together. But that being said, I'm not trying to say Gensel is struggling in any way, because he's not. I think Gensel has done everything that you'd expect from a new addition to the team, replacing a franchise legend. And he's, top 3 on the Bolts in points scored, just one behind Brandon Hagel with 1 fewer goal and the same amount of assists. And I think Gensel works well on that first line. It seems very clear to me that he is the type of talent that can play anywhere. Doesn't matter if you put him with some of the younger guys, if you put him with the first line guys, whatever. He's going to Gensel's going to get his. And I think that it's just important to play those first 2 lines a lot, really. But I think in the long term, this is not going to be a permanent situation. We might see a game here and there, maybe later in the season, maybe against a team that they know is kind of banged up or something like that, and they can afford to move guys around if they're, once they've clinched a playoff spot or something. I don't know. I think there's definitely a possibility that we see Hagel on that first line and Gensel on that second line for a couple games here and there, but I don't think that there is going to be a repetitive change in that first line unless Braden Point is out for longer than the team expects. They were trying to get him on track to play today. It is an option for him to be playing on Saturday against the Devils. So, you never really know. But I think whatever line you want to put them on, and I do think that Gensel 1, Hagel 2 is the right way to go. It's clear that the Lightning have 2 wingers that can really impact a game. And Brandon Hagel just played his 200th game as a Lightning player. And he is now 5th among all Bolts with the 5th most points in his first 200 career games, behind Steven Stamkos, who nearly averaged a point a game in his first 200, Brian Bradley, Vinny Prospol, and of course, Braden Point. 162 points in his first 200 games played, another big milestone for the Lightning, and more specifically for Brandon Hagel. A big congrats to him, but I think he and Cirelli, once the Lightning get back healthy and Point comes back to play, I think they will be staying on that second line. But at the very least, I think there is still an option if Gensel is struggling, or something like that. If Gensel, you know, somehow loses his patience with the first line or something, they get in a fight at practice. I don't know. I mean, I'm just spitballing very random situations that could potentially impact an NHL line, but I do expect that he'll stay Gensel on the first line when Braden Point comes back. And the Lightning have practice this morning, and then they face the New Jersey Devils, a team that they have already beaten on the road this year. That was back in October. And it also was the most amount of goals the Lightning scored in a game this season. We'll preview the Saturday showdown between the Lightning and the Devils, two of the Eastern Conference finest, when we come back here on Locked On Lightning. Get ready to tackle the NHL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NHL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And though it's not official, I believe that the Joint Chiropractic should be America's #1 chiropractic place. It's the only chiropractor I've ever been to, and frankly, I was a little scared to go. A little nervous about some of the stretches, little things like that. Don't need to get into it, but I went, and I am so glad that I did, because I had some bad back pain, and it is now mostly gone thanks to the stretching program and some of the advice that the talented team of doctors of the Joint Chiropractic was able to give me. They stretched out my back, did some stretches on it that I didn't know were humanly possible. They were very informative, and they explained things that I could be doing, and it turns out that I was doing, that could have caused this pain. And I've been on a stretching program ever since I visited to keep the pain away. And it's very easy to go to the Joint Chiropractic because they have 23 locations here in the Tampa Bay area. And if you go to Buccaneers.com, fans, contests, and promotions, you can get your first visit for $19 at one of the 23 Tampa area locations for the Joint Chiropractic. This is going to be the second time the Tampa Bay Lightning repeat an opponent in this season, playing 2 games against the Minnesota Wild and losing both by 2. It is going to be a tall order for the Lightning to repeat the same score as they had when they visited New Jersey, a natural hat trick as well as an assist for Brandon Hagel, a season best in a game, 4 assists for Anthony Cirelli, power play goal from Braden Point, first 2 goals of the season for Victor Hedman, and just a dominant offensive performance carried the Lightning over the New Jersey Devils. The two teams combined for over 70 shots, and the Lightning scored 5 goals in the second, while each team combined for 5 goals in the third period. So what do the Lightning need to do that again? Well, first off, I think they're going to be at a big advantage because Jonas Johansson was the goaltender in that game against the New Jersey Devils in New Jersey. It had been a couple of tough games back-to-back for Vasilevskiy, so Johansson got his first 2 starts of the season, allowed 5 goals with 2 of them on the power play, and played almost the entire game, made 30 saves on 35 shots. It's likely to be Vasilevskiy again. So that is going to be a big advantage for the Lightning. Again, I don't want to say anything bad about Jonas Johansson, but Vasilevskiy is maybe the best goalie in the league. That is still, that is always going to provide an advantage when you have Vasilevskiy in net versus just about anyone else. So Vasilevskiy playing in that would be a big bonus for the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they also faced the backup goalie of the New Jersey Devils in Jake Allen instead of Jacob Markstrom, who has played 13 games so far this season and is 2 away actually from 500 games played in his long career. The new starter for the Devils who picked him up in the offseason. So it could be a battle of number one goalies for the first time between these two teams. But I think the defense is really where Lightning are going to have to get stronger, whether that's even strength, penalty kill, power play. The Lightning's defense needs to be strong against the New Jersey Devils. Now, the Lightning are coming off of one of their best penalty killing games of the season. They also were 33% on the power play with a goal in 3 power play attempts. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, held the Jets to an 0 for 5 mark on the penalty kill. Ryan McDonough talks about the importance of the Lightning's special teams.
Yeah, we need to keep building on it, especially in the PK. Had a slow start there, and we're obviously working through things, and it was a good step tonight for sure against a pretty lethal power play. So continue to gain confidence there, and for sure PP obviously was threatening all night, got a big one for us, and had plenty of good looks. So we know that's been a strength for us in the past. It's got to be again this year.
And McDonough is coming from experience. He knows that this Lightning team in the past has been one of the best clubs in the NHL in terms of special teams. It was certainly the case the last time Ryan McDonough was there. Obviously, things changed with Stamkos out, but as he said, it was a slow start for the Lightning when it comes to special teams. These last couple of games, they've really stepped it up. And now they're heading in to this game against the Devils, who are still one of the better teams in the league, by the way. The Devils in the Metropolitan Division, currently 2 points clear of the Carolina Hurricanes in first there. Overall, they have the second most points in the Eastern Conference and fourth most in the entire league. So this is not going to be an easy task for the Devils on the penalty kill or an even strength, especially since Jesper Bratt just had a hat trick for the Devils in their win last night against the Florida Panthers. Back-to-back wins for the Devils against the Panthers, rather, after a rather discouraging loss against the San Jose Sharks. But I mean, those are going to happen sometimes. But I mean, these are two teams that we could see in a playoff matchup in the Eastern Conference. I think it's a legitimate possibility that these are teams that face each other in the postseason. And, the defense still needs to step up for the Lightning, but offensively, they really need to just do more of the same. I think both teams are going to go for a more defensive-minded game after a contest that combined for 13 goals between the two sides at the Prudential Center in Newark. So there's definitely going to be more of an emphasis on defense this coming Saturday, but I honestly think that plays into the Lightning advantage. I think Markstrom's a solid goalie, but if you're going in a defensive battle head-to-head, goalie on goalie, I'm taking Vasilevskiy every time, and that is going to be a big help. He's certainly got a lot of confidence right now after finally getting that 300th win. And like I said earlier, I really think that this win against the Jets is going to spark something for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have that kind of explosive offense that is just hard to stop when it gets hot. And coming off of a 4-game win streak, getting a milestone win for your goaltender, and ending that 4-game losing streak against a team that has unequivocally been the best in the NHL this year by just about any metric. 2 losses, haven't lost a game in overtime either yet. 14-2, 5 points clear of the rest of the league. The Jets are a juggernaut right now, and the Lightning beat them. They controlled that game. They straight up outplayed the Winnipeg Jets a week and a half after the Jets beat them 7-4 in Winnipeg. A rebound game like that after an offensive battle that was won by the Jets, especially in the third period, the Lightning came out swinging, and they played like this game was personal. And I think that this could be a jumping off point for a really good continuation of this Lightning season that hopefully will land them back in the playoffs. But plenty of more hockey to get through until then, including Saturday's game against the New Jersey Devils and a total of 6 more home games, including that Devils game, or games in total in the month of November. So we will take a break for the rest of the day and the rest of the weekend. I'll be live at the at Amalie Arena for Lightning Devils on Saturday. So make sure to check our Twitter account or X account, LO_Lightning, for updated news during the game. Please feel free to follow that account while you're there as well. We really appreciate the support, and make sure to check out wherever you listen to or watch your podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whichever you use. Make sure to give us a like, a follow, a subscription on those sites as well. But most of all, thank all of you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen today. And for your second listen, make sure to check out Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Josh Sperber signing off here on Locked On Lightning. Hope all of you have a great weekend, and go Bolts.